In the heart of Accra, there was a school where power was not taught in classrooms. It was lived in hallways. If you were rich, you were respected. If you were poor, you were invisible. And on one morning that looked completely normal, a girl walked through the school gates who would change everything. Her name was Stephanie. She wore a faded school uniform. Her shoes were slightly worn out, and she carried an old backpack that looked like it had survived years of struggle. No one greeted her. No one cared. And that was exactly how she wanted it. Because Stephanie had one secret, a secret so big that if anyone discovered it, this entire school would collapse. While everyone ignored Stephanie, another student arrived in style. A girl stepped out of a black luxury car, sparkling jewelry, perfect hair, expensive perfume filling the air. Her name was Gertrude. And from the first moment she stepped out, she made sure everyone knew one thing. She owned the school in spirit, even if she didn't legally own it. Gertrude wasn't actually the richest girl in school, but she acted like she was. And in a place where appearances mattered more than truth, that was enough. She gathered attention instantly. Students followed her. Teachers smiled at her more. And she noticed something interesting. The quiet girl, Stephanie, did not react at all. That bothered her. Because people like Gertrude don't fear competition. They fear indifference. It started small. A whisper in the hallway. That's the scholarship girl. Then laughter. Then pointing. Then cruelty that grew louder every day. Gertrude made it her personal mission. She mocked Stephanie's clothes. She mocked her old shoes. She mocked the fact that she ate alone during lunch. One afternoon, in front of everyone, Gertrude dropped her juice box near Stephanie's feet. Oops, maybe you can afford to clean that up. The whole cafeteria laughed. Stephanie said nothing. She simply bent down, picked up the mess, and walked away. But someone saw her differently. A boy named Jaden. He was wealthy, popular, and known for avoiding drama. But something about Stephanie's silence disturbed him. Not weakness, but control. And for the first time,
Jaden chose to sit beside her.
That moment changed everything. And Gertrude noticed it immediately. Gertrude hated losing attention. So she escalated. She started rumors. Stephanie is pretending to be poor so she can trick rich boys. She probably snuck into this school somehow. Students began laughing louder. Phones began recording her walks. And Stephanie remained silent. But silence has weight. And Jaden started standing closer to her, protecting her without even realizing it. That made Gertrude furious. Because for the first time, someone else was being seen. Every year, the school hosted a charity gala. It was where status was measured. Donations were announced publicly, and reputations were built or destroyed. Gertrude arrived in a gold dress, smiling like a queen. Then she stood up in front of everyone and announced, "I am donating 1 million Sadies to support underprivileged students." Applause erupted. Cameras flashed. She turned toward Stephanie with a smug smile. But then, the principal adjusted the microphone and said something that changed the entire atmosphere. We also received a matching donation from Stephanie. Silence. The hall froze. Gertrude's smile cracked slightly. She turned slowly. "Excuse me?" But the principal continued.
Yes.
Stephanie. Equal amount. Nobody understood. Because Stephanie had never shown wealth. Never shown power. Never shown anything. But that night, she had quietly changed everything. And Gertrude felt something she had never felt before.
Fear.
That same night, Gertrude made a decision. If she couldn't beat Stephanie openly, she would destroy her secretly. She created a fake scandal, a manipulated photo, A false story linking Stephanie to a wealthy older man. By morning, the rumor spread everywhere. Teachers were questioning her. Students were whispering. And Gertrude smiled. But she didn't know one thing. Stephanie had not come alone. The school assembly bell rang. Students gathered expecting punishment. Instead, 2 black cars pulled into the school compound. The doors opened, and a man stepped out.
Calm.
Powerful.
Silent.
Stephanie followed behind him. The principal's face changed instantly, because he knew that man. He was one of the biggest investors in the entire education system in the country. And then he spoke. My daughter does not need to pretend to be poor. The entire school froze. Stephanie stepped forward slightly.
Her voice was calm.
I chose this life to see how people treat those who have nothing. Eyes widened. Whispers died instantly. Gertrude stood completely still. For the first time, she had nothing to say. Everything collapsed fast. The fake story was exposed. The school reviewed footage. The truth unraveled. Gertrude's influence disappeared overnight. Friends who once followed her began avoiding her. The attention she lived for vanished. And Jaden looked at her once, then walked away without a word. Because there is one thing worse than being poor in that school. It is being exposed as fake. As the school day ended, Stephanie stood alone near the school field. Wind moved softly around her. Jaden approached quietly. Why didn't you tell anyone? Stephanie looked at him. A long pause. Then she said, because I wanted to know who respects me when I have nothing to offer. Silence again. Not empty silence, but heavy truth. Because in the end, the real wealth was never money. It was character. And Stephanie had more of it than anyone there ever realized. They laughed at the quiet girl. They humiliated the poor student. But they never understood one thing. The girl they were mocking was the one who owned everything they admired. If you love this story, don't forget to subscribe for more interesting stories.